Hey, Sugarfoot. Welcome to a brand spanking new episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. Oh, if today is the first day that you stumbled across my little black true crime podcast, oh, baby, you are in for a treat because I'm gonna bring you the story of a prolific serial offending motherfucker every week. I'm talking melanated baddies that did some diabolical, heinous, and downright audacious crimes and got away with the shit for a little minute in most cases. Now, you may have heard of some of these criminalistic all-stars whose stories that I spit every week, but I can promise you this, you ain't heard the story the way I'ma tell it. Honey, because you see, I personally, I'm on a mission to dispel this pervasive myth that there are certain types of crimes that black people just don't commit. Sugar. That's cap. Just like that fat white man shimmying down the chimney, dropping off gifts every December. Honey. So go on ahead and get comfortable because we fixing to ride and you ain't even know it. Okay, we done made our guests comfortable and whatnot. New Orleans Nation, Feliz Navidad up in this bitch. What's cracking, fam? My Lord, I have missed y'all something terrible. Baby, last week, I just had to admit defeat. Your girl just couldn't pull it off. Love Kills was a victim of not enough hours in a day on a big eating holiday week. I had the story, and it was a good one. Ooh, my Jesus. But I couldn't get nowhere near my mic. So for the first time in 19 months, the country girl had to hit y'all with a flashback. And I know y'all was cool with it. Thank you for all the messages that y'all sent me, the encouragement, the suggestions, the what had happened was around your way. I appreciate all of that, y'all. That episode that I was talking about, that was so good because it is so good. It's a good one, y'all. It's going to run next Friday for sure. So I hope y'all had a very, very, very happy Turkey Day. And it was full of everything that you needed to restore you and renew you because we all need to be renewed. I'm going to tell you, I ate and promptly passed the fuck out. I woke up around 9:30 Thanksgiving night to a kitchen full of shit that needed to be broke down, packaged up, and washed. And that was when I made the decision that this was going to be my last Thanksgiving that I'm cooking. I'm done, y'all. Nope. I have put in 30 good years. It's time to pass the baton. I told my children, I'm coming to their house next year. And I meant that with my whole soul. Baby, I'm about to join the I'ma come get me a plate brigade. Because being team captain of y'all come get a plate. That has run its course. and then on top of all of that, I had to be at work the following morning, Friday morning, Black Friday morning, at the ass crack of dawn. New Orleans Nation. We ain't finna do it. It's a wrap. Both on the cooking and the job in a minute. Which brings me to my next thought. New Orleans Nation, are there any real estate agents in the congregation in the Atlanta area that can help your girl with some commercial leasing? Or if you or someone that you know do that for real, can you please holler at your girl? Please and thank you. Closed mouths don't get fed. That's what I heard. and what about this? Y'all ready for the virtual show? Because you know it's coming in a few short days. Y'all ready, right? You already got your ticket, right? Honey, child, don't miss out on a cute little situation with your favorite country girl. Yeah, me and my fellow squad members of the BTCC, man, we can't wait to kick it with y'all for season slayings. Baby, we got a felonious Feliz Navidad for you, baby. And the best part about it, it's virtual, y'all. Baby, that means that you can kick it with us wheresoever you may be on December 13th at 7 p.m. You get to keep your gas in your tank and them heels in your closet. And I'm getting my ugly sweater together, honey, because we are playing reindeer games. They're going to be prizes for the ugliest sweater of them all. I can't wait to crime it up with y'all for Christmas a little. So go on head on over to Eventbrite and get get your tickets to the show. The link can be found in the show notes as well as on the social media pages. Okay, crime cousins, that's all I got for you this week, all right? So, let's go on get to why we show up every week to do what we do. The motherfucking mayhem of it all. And baby, I got a special treat for you today and every Wednesday this month. Baby, I am dragging one of the biggest demons in American true crime history. I'm talking about black true crime history or white true crime history. Baby, dragging his ass right on to the front of the congregation. Now, you have heard of the names Dahmer and Bundy, Gacy, but how many of y'all have ever heard and know the whole story about the most prolific serial killer America has ever seen? That was a whole ass black man. Baby, he wasn't just prolific, he was the most prolific. 93 victims that we know of. 93, baby. And most of them black, brown, poor, addicted, sex workers. Women that society didn't bother to look for. So, we're going to dedicate this whole month of December to him because, baby, for me to tell the story properly, we're going to need some time. This is King Dingaling of the serial offending criminal all-stars. Like, this nigga is Jefe El Grande. You know that old saying, he the man sitting next to the man, sitting next to the man, sitting next to the goddamn man? Well, this nigga is the goddamn man. He is OG Big Brother Almighty. And I just don't feel like the proper respect has been put on this man. Like, he is the most disgusting of the disgusting. Oh, he is the most diabolical of the diabolicals. Baby, the most prolific of the prolific ones, New Nation. This motherfucker put the nigga in the audacious niggatry. Honey. And I'ma do my best to tell you what the fuck and how the fuck he did it. It's a sensational story, y'all, full of foolishness and felonious fucketry. You know, I think I have set this thing up nicely, y'all. So without further ado, let me go on ahead and drag this motherfucker to the front of the congregation for a thorough 4-part dragging of that ass. This week's Melanin Mayhem Maker, Mr. Samuel Little, a.k.a. the killingest killer that ever killed. New Nation. I broke this thing down into 4 episodes because I felt like I could do it more justice if I made it into bite-sized pieces so we can eat this whole elephant named Samuel Little, right? And so let's get into the making of a monster, shall we? Now, Samuel Little was born in Reynolds, Georgia, June 7th, 1940. And just for geographical purposes, Reynolds, Georgia is a little dot on the map about 85 miles or so east of Atlanta. And I guess we can break out the violins a little bit here because baby Sam came in this bitch on some hard luck shit, you know? His mama, her name was Bessie May Little, and his daddy was a young nigga named Paul McDowell. Now, Paul wasn't nowhere to be found. And according to Sam, he says that his mama, Bessie May, she was a purveyor of the pussy. Although old school used the term that she was a lady of the night. Shit, them sales go down day or night, honey. Y'all know my favorite saying is pussy sell when cotton and corn don't. That ain't got shit to do with shit. Stay on track. We got a lot to talk about here tonight. Stay on track. Okay, so Bessie May, according to Sam, abandoned him as a baby on the side of a road. So from jump, Sam has learned what abandonment feels like, right? It was also at a really young age that Sam figured out what floats his boat. They say when he was in kindergarten, his teacher was touching or rubbing on her neck, and he was watching her do that. And it got his little Peter all into a tizzy, his little wood going on there in kindergarten. And from that point on, he was fascinated by all things that had to do with a woman's neck. And so when normal boys, and I got air quotes here when I say normal, when they were putting posters on the wall, of what did it for them, that was usually, something out of the magazines. Maybe it was the Jet Beauty of the Week, a Teen Beat magazine, the Centerfold. Maybe it was Janet Jackson or I don't know. This was really, really early, so we're talking 50s and 60s. Maybe it was Ella Fitzgerald. I don't know. But what Sam put on his wall was a poster of a woman that was strangled. He got it out of a true crime magazine. So, I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying that the signs were there. I mean, that's what was on his wall. A life-size photograph of a dead woman. Grandma, where you at? I mean, he grew up in Lorain, Ohio, and he was mostly raised by his grandmama. And this is the grandmama on his daddy's side, who must have somehow came and scooped his little ass up after Bessie Mae was like, fuck that baby. And while Granny might have tried, the streets raised that nigga. Baby, they say Samuel the adolescent was always stealing, fighting, skipping school. I mean, his first arrest came before his nuts fell, really. And I'm not saying that a fucked up childhood excuses murder, right? But I'm just saying that you can trace the pattern. You can see how this demon seed started growing, right? He didn't have no stability in his life. And it didn't nobody give a fuck. So, no empathy. And because he lived with his grandmama, no boundaries. That old woman couldn't keep up with that youngster. And so, as such, Samuel bounced in and out of juvenile detention and in and out of bad situations, right? And he learned to become a bully. I mean, physical dominance, that was the name of the game for him. And there's a theme there. He liked to control shit. He wanted the environment that was around him, he wanted control over it. Now Sam would kick off his criminalistic resume at the age of 13 when he stole a bicycle. Now, that seems petty as fuck in 2025, but in 1953, that was some serious shit. He got caught, and they convicted him, and they sent his little young ass to the Boys Industrial School, which was in Lancaster, Ohio. He was there for like a year and a half. And while he was locked down in baby prison, oh, baby, this little nigga, how he rack up 47 infractions? 47, sir? You just wasn't gonna get right by no means at all, huh? Now, this would be the first incarceration that basically set the scene for a slew of arrests and other jail stays. So, he gets out of little cheering prison in 1955, and that following year in 1956, tell me why he is arrested for burglary in Omaha, Nebraska. Now, first and foremost, how the fuck did Lil Kane get right at age 16 get from Lorain, Ohio to Omaha, Nebraska? Like, I don't know. That's like 11 hours away. But he did it. Industrious motherfucker he was. And this is also going to be a theme for his life. Like, he was a Rolling Stone. And I'm talking about from an early age. So however he got to Nebraska, he gets to Omaha and he is arrested for burglary. And he was in and out on that shit, and then he popped back up in Lorain, and this time he gets caught breaking into a dry cleaner's. And for this particular burglary, they sent him to the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio, which, fun fact, was where they shot the movie The Shawshank Redemption. Classic. I love me some Shawshank. Now, this nigga Sam, he wasn't no Andy Dufresne, and he damn sure wasn't no Red for that matter. In the eyes of the law, he was a petty criminal that just couldn't stop getting caught. Baby, Sam would do a couple of years there, and then he would be back on the scene after they paroled him in 1960. And so He sits down for a little minute, and then in 1961, he gets popped for breaking into, of all things, an abandoned furniture warehouse. And this is in Lorain, Ohio. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck was he stealing? Like, I don't know. Was he practicing his breaking and entering skills? I mean, was he scoping out a spot to maybe drop off some things that he didn't want nobody to find? I don't know, but whatever it was that made him break into this abandoned furniture warehouse, he got 3 years for the shit. And of all his jailhouse stays, this 3-year bid would be the longest time that he spent on a crime in jail until he was a senior citizen. I'm telling y'all, it's a very interesting story. So, okay. He's back at Shawshank, right? And while he is there on this particular bid, he picks up a new hobby. This nigga starts boxing. And it's during this particular prison stint that Sam learns how to knock a bitch out. And this is important because at this time, Sam is like 21 to 24. And while incarcerated, according to him, he hadn't at this point started disconnecting women, right? But learning how to incapacitate a motherfucker is going to serve him well in a few years when he does begin to start unaliving people. You know what I'm saying? No, so just hold on. We going to get there. Just hold on now. So they paroled Sam from Shawshank in 1964. He's 24 years old by this time, right? And he has spent damn near more time locked up than he has free. So I don't know. Maybe Red was on to something when he said these motherfuckers be getting institutionalized after a while. I mean, you would think that Sam would stop with the bullshit and try to stay free for a little while, right? But that shit really didn't sit well in his spirit, apparently, because he would be arrested right on again in 1966 for assault and battery in Cleveland, Ohio. So, by the late 1960s, criminalistic Sam was using both his mama and his daddy's last name as his aliases. Sometimes he was Samuel Little, and sometimes he was Samuel McDowell. And all the time, he was a motherfucking menace. A drifting menace at that. And while he was drifting from pillar to post, he would work odd jobs. I'm talking about this nigga done been everything from a cemetery caretaker to a day laborer. This motherfucker even worked for a carnival. Like, everywhere he went, though, shit was happening. Whether he was robbing, assaulting somebody, like, it was always something that was going on. But here's the thing, Samuel never stayed long. So nobody was really able to start connecting dots for some shit that was going on behind the scenes. You see, this is all well before DNA, way before cross-state databases and shit. You know, back then, if you moved 2 counties over, you might as well have been invisible. You know, wasn't no computers and shit. And it was being invisible, which is what exactly Samuel wanted to be. But check this out. Did y'all know that Samuel Little was married? Baby, right after he got out for beating up some folks in Cleveland, he was briefly married to a woman in Lorain, Ohio. Couldn't find her name to save my soul. Baby, I looked, I searched, I had ChatGPT on it. Baby, we was digging deep. I had a couple of maybe mics, but you know, I don't like to throw no information that I can't verify in a couple of different sources. So this woman, whoever she was, name unknown, good job, girl, keeping that shit buried. I ain't mad at your sister. He was married briefly, but that marriage didn't work out. You know, it was the 60s, and Sam throwed the deuces to his old lady, and he moved to Miami, Florida in like 1969. This, y'all, is going to be in Miami where he is going to start his serial killing dynasty. And it all started when he killed a woman named Mary Brosley. It's New Year's Eve, and he is at a bar bringing in the new year. He sees Mary, and they start talking. And a little after the clock rolled over into the new year, Sam was driving down a deserted road where he beat and strangled Mary and buried her body in a shallow grave. Now, for this episode, I am not going to really go into the killations because it's too many to even get started on this far into the episode. That's going, we ain't got too much more time in this particular episode. And, I want to give you what you paid for. Not, you know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that it's juicy, right? But I felt like it was important to put Mary in here as kind of like a place marker to illustrate that Sam was into all kinds of criminalistic activities, right? I mean, he was a textbook run-of-the-mill, running amok, doing everything from entry-level criminality all the way to real-deal pro-level criminality. I mean, he was sexually assaulting women and walking away with just a love tap on the head. What the fuck is the logic of arresting him for what, in most cases, is some real penny bullshit, but allowing him free reign to drill, kill, and destroy without a care in the world? I know, child. Ain't no use in getting our blood pressures up over some shit that already happened. So let's just keep on pushing on with pride, shall we? Okay, now, I told y'all that Sam was a rolling stone. He stayed on the move, never let the grass grow up under his feet. And so from Miami, he went back to Cleveland. And in all spots in between, like he literally was the type to wherever he pulled into, that's where he was staying until he was ready to pull out. So in 1971, after bringing in the new year by ending Mary's time on Earth, Samuel, he's back in Cleveland, Ohio for a spell. And he is not one to be alone. He always got him a little shawty of some type. And at this particular time in Cleveland, Ohio, in 1971, his little shawty was a woman named Lucy Madero. Now, Sam bought that life. We see that, right? If you're going to be down with him, that means you're going to be expected to be a ride or die. And Lucy was like, okay, Zaddy, I got you, baby. And so one day, I guess, the funds might have been low or whatever. However, whatever, a plan was hatched to go strong-arm somebody out their money. The next thing you know, Sam and Lucy, they holding up a gas station. It's May 28th, 1971. They are not good at robbery because they are promptly arrested and off to the county jail they go. Well, of course, Sam, he's over on the men's side of the jail, and Lucy, she's on the women's side of the jail. So at this particular time, Bonnie and Clyde ain't hip to hip no more. And shit started to change when you lose proximity. Folks start realizing they really not about this life. They ain't trying to do no time for no dick. I ain't blaming you. I understand. I ain't trying to do no time for no dick either. And Lucy, she starts having thoughts, and those thoughts start turning into conversations. You see, Lucy got a cellmate, and this woman, this chick, her name is Aurelia Dorsey. They call her Jean, right? And so Lucy, like many of those who ain't built for it tough, she starts pillow talking with her cellie. So she tell Jean that she got a deal with the state to testify against Sam, and she gonna skate right on up out of that felony shit and hang Sam out to dry. Loose lips Lucy is spilling all the tea, and Jean, she right there getting all that good info. Okay, so boom, Sam goes to trial on this robbery charge in 1972. And real talk, look at here, Lucy, she does turn state witness. But you see, the plan didn't go off like they thought it would. Because you see, this was supposed to be a surprise, bitches type of situation. She was like jumping out the cake on that ass. But Sam and his attorney, oh baby, they was prepared for her testimony. Because you see, oh girl, Jean, she had got in touch with Sam and his attorney and hipped them to the caper that Laylo Lucy was gonna pull. And so Sam's attorney, they was able to make it look like Lucy was the mastermind and she had duped the state, and Sam was just pussy whipped doing whatever she told him to do. And the jury believed that shit and let that nigga nobody knew was a killing machine two-step right on out that robbery shit. Baby, but check this shit out. It gets crazier. Apparently, Sam, Jean, Lucy's cellmate, Jean, apparently they clicked. I mean, she showed a nigga that she was down like 4 flats. She ain't even smelt the dick yet. This bitch ain't even seen the print, and she is already dickmatized. Baby, her dropping a dime on Lucy was the start of her being Samuel Little's bottom bitch. Baby, from that point when he beat that robbery charge to the day Jean went on to see the king in 1988, she rode hard for that nigga. Baby, they say Jean was a master booster. Baby, she had the stickiest of the sticky fingers. She used them skills to make sure that her man was straight at all times, baby. She taught him everything that she knew, honey. Miss Jean was one of them, long as I got breath in my body, I got you type of hoes. And they don't make them like that no more, baby. What Chris Brown say, these hoes ain't loyal? Honey, she didn't give a fuck what Sam was out here in these streets doing. He was her man when he was at home, and that's all it was to it. New Orleans Nation, I do believe that Jean knew exactly what her man was up to, and she didn't give a fuck. Because that nigga Samuel, while we didn't know about the shenanigery that he was out here doing, cutting off the waters of the women's, we did know that he was capable of strong-arming the pussy. You see, September of 1976, we're talking some 4 years after he got off of that robbery charge that Jean helped hook him up with. 4 years she been down with this nigga. Tell me why Sam was arrested in Sunset Hills, Missouri. Now, that ain't nothing new. We know Sam been getting arrested since we got introduced to this nigga. All episode he been getting locked up, right? Well, this time he is arrested for kidnapping, rape, assault with great bodily injury, and robbery. Yeah, honey, his victim is a woman named Pamela Smith. Now, this story is unfucking believable, and it's a prime example of how killers were and are allowed to do some fuck shit and get away with it. So, Pam, by her own admission, is a drug addict, right? She got in the car with Sam in St. Louis, Missouri. He drives her to Sunset Hills, and shit goes left. Sam rapes Pam, and he goes upside her head with a 2-piece and a biscuit. Then he gonna try to unalive Pam. Now, Pam, oh honey, she must have had a praying grandmother. Cause baby, even though she is half naked with her hands tied up behind her back, some kind of way she is able to get out of Samuel's car and run for her literal life. Baby, she ends up banging on somebody's door screaming and crying for help. The police are called, and they get Pam to the hospital. Now, she has been beaten, and she has been bitten. She has been sodomized, and she has been strangled. Like, goddamn. So she tells the police who did it. Description of the car, all of that shit. The police go back to where they found her, and what do you know? There's the car with a man that fits the description of everything Pam said. So, this nigga sitting in the car. Tell me why this nigga Sam is right there in the car, right by the house that Pam ran to. I mean, he's just sitting in the car. Pam's clothes and shit is still in the car. So when the cops roll up on him and they ask him about Pam, do y'all know that this sorry, stinking motherfucker said, and I quote, "I ain't rape her, I only beat her." Nigga, what? Like, ugh. So you copy to putting hands on this woman. Okay, so if we know he did this and we know that he is arrested for fucking Pam up, how the fuck did he get out of that shit? Y'all know how. Y'all know how. This is the 70s, and they for sure didn't give two shits about a man using his hands or his dick as a weapon of mass destruction. Especially when the victim is a heroin addict that don't always show up for court. They pled that stinking motherfucker down to assault with attempt to ravish. The fuck is that? Assault with attempt to ravish? Get the fuck out of here. And for this little pled down charge, they gave his pussy punk ass 3 funky ass months. You heard me. This motherfucker bit me. He beat me. He choked me and stroked my booty hole, and all that's worth is 90 motherfucking days in the joint? Tell me you don't give a fuck without saying it. Missouri, y'all ain't shit. Y'all ain't shit. Ooh, y'all was shit. I hope y'all some shit now, but 90 days? Pam was fucked up. They gave this man 90 days. So yeah, he go and he sit down for 90 days, and he is back on the free side of things in January of 1977. He did more time for breaking into an empty furniture store than he did for taking that woman booty hole from her. Stop it. This woman ran for her life. She is beaten. She is bitten. This nigga ate her, literally, and not the good kind of eating. Again, blood pressure down. Ain't nothing we can do about it but tell the story, Nate. All right, now understand, New Orleans Nation, this is by no means a complete accounting of all of Samuel Little's incarcerations. But what I want you to understand is that none of these arrests are for murder. Now, we know for a fact now that Samuel Little started his killing New Year's Eve 1970. But he was getting away with that shit. He was getting popped for everything else under the sun that ain't have nothing to do with taking somebody's life. Now, y'all know I like to set the scene or whatever on how our mayhem makers were living. And this nigga Sam, like I said, he's a Rolling Stone and he's a true blue jailbird. According to everything that I have read and studied up on, by 1975, the nigga had been arrested more than 26 times. I got all his mugshots. I'm going to put it on social media for y'all. I mean, and we're talking about all over the United States. Like, he served time in Ohio, in Maryland, in Florida, in Maine, in Connecticut, in Oregon, in Colorado, in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Arizona, Georgia, Illinois, Missouri, California. Like, basically the question is, where the fuck didn't Sam go to jail at, right? He is getting popped left, right, and sideways on bullshit like burglary, breaking and entering. He stepped it up a little bit and moved on to assault and battery and assault with intent to rob or assault with a firearm, armed robbery, assault on a police officer, solicitation of prostitution, DUI, shoplifting, theft, grand theft, possession of marijuana, unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, resisting arrest. And then he went on and got his PhD in criminology and graduated to battery and false imprisonment and assault with great bodily harm, robbery, rape, sodomy, and of course, all of the murderations that he was doing that didn't nobody even know about. Like, this nigga had a real ass rap sheet. But because he was going from state to state, from city to city, from county to county, it meant that the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. So while, let's say, Mississippi might have arrested him for something, they didn't know that he was also on paper in Illinois. And Sam is just out here getting it from state to state with impunity. And that's what's crazier, is that even with this laundry list of crimes that he committed and was caught, tried and dealt with, do y'all know that if you add it all up, every time he was arrested, every time he served time, this motherfucker only served 10 years? When you add it all together, 10 years. And he's committed just about every crime it is on the books. Make that make sense. Like, the 70s, early 80s, it was a wild time. I mean, that's crazy to me. 10 years? 10 years for all the foolishness and fuckery that didn't have anything to do with a murder. Okay. Now that we have a better understanding of the origin story of Samuel Little and a sampling of the shit that he was on, we need to move on and start putting our toe in the murderation part of his life. Now, we know now that Samuel Little was the most prolific serial killer the United States has ever seen. And just so you know, because you can fact check me, I believe in receipts. If you look in Wikipedia at the serial killer list, and there are many, now you don't just have to go to Wikipedia, but the one in Wikipedia in particular, it shows all of the killers from all over the world. It's like the all-star list, right? And on that list, Samuel Little is number 11. The criminals that are number 1 through 10, they are all from international locations. Russia, Colombia, Argentina. Nobody's from the United States in the top 10. Samuel Little is the first American with the largest body count. The next closest to Sam is Gary Ridgway, who's a Caucasical with 49 bodies for show and possibly another 21 to 35. Now, Samuel Little, by comparison, has 60 confirmed bodies and 33 possibles. If this was a spade game, 33 possibles, some of them gonna hit. 33? The fuck? This motherfucker really might have taken more than 100 women completely out the game. This murdering murderer that murdered confessed to 93 kills. And I'm talking about confessed off the top of the dome. But understand, when the confession took place, y'all, he was in his 70s. 70-something. Now, I'm not being an ageist by any means. Understand, I'm getting old. I'm not ageist. But at his age, at 70-something, my dude done forgot a hell of a lot of shit. I am 50. And when I tell you my memory ain't shit now, I can't imagine what I ain't gonna remember in my 70s. So the fact that in his 70s, after he has, wound down a little bit, the light is starting to dim, this is what he could recall and tell the FBI about in great detail. And we gonna go into it, y'all. We gonna go into it. I'm teasing a future episode, right? So, how did all of this start? I breezed through his first kill, but let's go deeper into the mind of a real-ass killing machine, shall we? Now, the sheer number of women whose water he cut off is just astronomical, right? But even so, if we go with that, what he said, and put him down for 93 strong, how the fuck did he pull that shit off? Well, I'm going to tell you. He was able to do that because he targeted women that lived on society's margins. Those that were addicted to drugs. Those that were homeless. Those that would do something strange for a little piece of change. Honey. Okay, let's keep it a book, right? That's what we do, right? He was preying on women who were already used to being overlooked by the cops, by the hospitals, and by their families. In other words, he killed women that wouldn't be missed. And I gotta bring you back to the Samuel that was in kindergarten, who saw his teacher rub at her neck and got rocked up. That's the centerpiece of his M.O. He strangled his victims with his bare hands. He ain't used no gun. Ain't no gunshots here. He didn't use no knife. He not stabbing nobody. He didn't even use rope or cords or cloth or anything else to choke him out. He just used his bare fucking hands. And the reason he said he didn't have to use nothing is because using his hands made him feel close to God. Now, that's the kind of twisted theology I can't wrap my head around, honey. Don't be bringing Black Jesus up into this bullshit. He didn't have nothing to do with this. But twisted minds, they think all kind of things, right? So let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to his first kill, Mary Brosley. Now, Samuel would go on to describe her as a big old blonde, round about the turn of the new year in the 70s. This is in the Coconut Grove area of Miami. He said that when he saw Mary, he knew instantly that she was a hoe. He saw her sitting in a booth. He said he seen them big old legs and them fishnets, and she was touching on her neck. And he knew in that instant that she was the one sent straight from God. Now, sir, I done told you to stop bringing Black Jesus into this foolishness. He ain't had nothing to do with this mayhem. This woman who's been reduced to a big old blonde, would be the first of what would become a long list of victims that was murked out by Samuel Little. Like, next episode, we're going to dig into these killations, but I need you to understand he drifted around Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Ohio, Arizona, California, Georgia, everywhere, just leaving victims like little breadcrumbs. And we see that, the police would catch him every now and then doing bullshit, shoplifting, assault, drugs, but, never for murder. And his MO, kill a bitch, serve a little time for some unrelated shit, move on. Start the clock over again somewhere new. Now, mind you, throughout all of this, he's still kicking it hard with Jean. She is his for show bottom bitch. Wherever the wind blew Samuel, she was right there by his side. So, again, she knew. I don't give a fuck what you say. Jean knew. By the 80s, we talking dozens, maybe even hundreds of unsolved strangulations across the South and West Coast, right? But in certain cases, in certain cities, the victims all had something in common. They were women of color, sex workers, drug addicts. Let's also not forget that in the 80s, this is when we usher in the crack epidemic. The era when the police was like, fuck out their asses if they look like they had anything to do with some crack, right? So, law enforcement, keeping it a buck. They didn't give a fuck. So the system didn't just fail. It just refused to see what the fuck was going on. I don't care if it was different jurisdictions. I don't care if there was no database. It was still just a ugly ass cocktail of racism and misogyny and class bias, right? If a black woman turned up dead in 1978, 1988, the headline would read prostitute slain. There wouldn't even be a picture, no follow-up, just a brief little blurb, right? And there would also be no outrage. And we know now that serial killers thrive on silence. And America gave Samuel Little a megaphone of neglect. I mean, he was questioned multiple times in Mississippi and in Florida for some murderations, and he still walked free every time. The pattern was there, but wasn't nobody paying no attention. So let me tell you about a couple of times where Samuel was picked up. I'm going to leave you with this. There's a couple of times when Samuel was pulled in for questioning about suspicious deaths, right? First time was in September of 1982 when a woman named Patricia Mount was found deader than a motherfucker in Alachua County, Florida. That's in Gainesville, right? Now, Patricia was 26 years old, and the last time she was seen leaving with a man driving a brown Pinto. Come to find out, that Pinto belonged to Samuel Little. Now, when Patricia's body was autopsied, they found some hair on her body. They said that they compared that hair that they found on Patricia to Samuel Little's hair. And the medical examiner was like, shit, looked like a match to me. But in 1982, DNA wasn't even a pipe dream. So having this hair really didn't mean shit. They even took Sam to trial anyway, right? Because it's Florida. They have convicted a motherfucker for less. So they was like, let's just give it a try, see what happens. And in this instance, though, just this one particular instance, the jury was like, nah, we can't say for sure that that's the killing killer that killed Patricia. And so they let Sam skate right on up out that motherfucker. And two-step out of Florida, that motherfucker did. And he two-stepped out of Florida and right on into Mississippi, where he gets caught up again in another suspected murderation of a woman named Melinda Rose LaPree. Now, Melinda, she was murked October 1982. Right after this motherfucker got off on this shit in Florida, he went right to goddamn Mississippi on the bullshit. Now, at first, Melinda was just missing until a gravedigger found her body at a cemetery in Pascagoula, Mississippi. Now, the last time anybody seen Melinda with a pulse, she was with a man named Samuel Little getting into a brown Pinto. Now, Melinda, I'm going to tell you, she was a sure enough purveyor of pussy. She was in the union and everything. And a couple of her fellow coochie saleswomen, they spoke to the popo and they let them know all this shit. The nigga she left with, they knew him. How did they know him? Because he had tried to murk both their asses. Yes, 2 hoes. One named Hilda, one named Leela. And they saw it all. Hilda even reported her assault when it happened, but the Pascagoula Police Department, they wasn't studying her ass. In their mind, you a prostitute, baby. And getting assaulted is just a hazard of the job. So now that these women are saying that they saw Melinda and they saw her get into the car with this man who had already tried to take them out the game, they went and scooped Sam up. They charged him with Melinda's murder. But here's the kicker. The word of 2 streetwalkers, it wasn't enough. They needed physical evidence to tie Sam to the murder. And that they just did not have. So since they didn't have physical evidence, they didn't even take it to trial. They just dropped the charges against Sam. And what he do? 2-step right on up out of Mississippi. Baby. Oh, he didn't tarry in the South. Nope, he headed west. Next, he popped up in California. The year is 1984. And this time, the police actually catch this killing motherfucker in the act of mollywopping a woman. Yes. You see, it's October 1984, and Sam, he got a new whip. He got a black Thunderbird, and he is in the back seat of this car with a chick named Tanya Jackson. Now, he is beating the brakes off of Tanya. He just got through raping her, and he is trying to literally strangle her out. The cops see it, and they pull up on him, and they pull Samuel off of Tanya, and they charge him with rape and assault with great bodily harm. But you see, here's where it takes a turn one more time. You see, Sam has been in San Diego for a little minute now. And when the San Diego police get to looking at his ass, they realize that he the nigga that they was already looking for. Let me tell you what happened. A month before Tanya got, there was a woman named Laurie Barrows. She was also mollywopped, monkey stomped, and raped by a man who thought he had killed her. But you see, Laurie, she was playing dead, but very much alive. And she gave a detailed description of her attacker and the car he was driving. And damn if Samuel Little don't match that motherfucker to a T. So just like how it was going down with Tanya, Laurie, after the beating and the raping, this motherfucker had strangled her and he dumped her on the side of the road. He really thought she was gone. But she wasn't. So now they got Laurie saying, yup, that's him. They got Tanya saying, yup, that's him. So now they charge Sam with Laurie's assault right along with Tanya's. Okay, wait a minute. Now they got this nigga. Like they really got his ass right here in the year of our Lord 1984. So how in the hell did he slip out of this shit? Y'all already know. This is still during the time when a man could use his dick and his hands as weapons of mass destruction in the police's face and still get a love tap for his bad behavior. Y'all, when this shit went to trial, Sam pleaded guilty to 2 counts of assault with great bodily injury and 1 count of false imprisonment. Beat, raped, strangled. And they pled that shit down to 2 counts of assault and 1 count of false imprisonment? What in the entire fuck? Y'all, they sentenced him to 4 years. 4 years. 48 months for kidnapping, raping, beating, biting, sodomizing, and strangling 2 women. One of them, he was caught in the act. doing it not by just a regular citizen. He was caught by the goddamn police. And you mean to tell me this sorry low-life motherfucker got 4 years? Mm-hmm. And it gets worse. Because, yeah, they gave him 4 years. But to add insult to injury, this trifling motherfucker only served a year and some change before they opened up the doors and let him go. Yes. This trifling motherfucker was paroled February 1987. Wow. And what does he do? When he gets paroled, he dips right on up out of San Diego and heads to Los Angeles. Like, y'all, I knew of Samuel Little. I knew he was a motherfucker. But what I didn't know until I started this deep diving was how the law and the prison system was co-conspirators in his bullshit. I mean, the only silver lining that I can see of all of this tomfoolery is that with this last prison sentence, now he is required to give a DNA sample. And while it won't mean shit for the next decade or so, eventually that cheek swab is going to be the linchpin that finally gets his ass. I'm going to close out to set up next week's episode by telling you what happened when he got to L.A. Bodies are coming up missing and unalived. We have 3 women. 41-year-old Carol Alford, found July 13th, 1987. 35-year-old Audrey Nelson, found August 14th, 1989. And 46-year-old Guadalupe Apodaca, who was found September 3rd, 1989. All 3 of these women stroked and choked. And I use that term because I found it in the police reports from the LA police, who had a rash of women who were being raped and strangled, more than just the 3 I told you about. And they nicknamed the murderer the stroke and choke killer. And I think that speaks volumes on how many crimes this motherfucker may have committed, but we really can't say it was all him, because if you've been listening to me for any amount of time, then you already know that LA had a gang of serial killers operating in that area at the same time with the same victimology. But god damn it, man, stroke and choke killer, that's diabolical. That's, if we had been talking about Becky, I bet they would have found a better name for him. I bring up these 3 women because they will play an instrumental role in the future conviction of Samuel Little. But for now, we're just going to put a pin in there and come back later. For our next episode, we're going to pick up right here where I left off and let you know what happened when he got to LA and how all of this shit started to unravel, right? I just have to say, yes, Samuel Little, he was a criminal mastermind. He was a man who understood America's blind spots. He knew that if he killed black women, if he killed poor women, if he killed a woman with a record, that nobody would chase him. Nobody would be looking for him. They wouldn't be beating the bushes trying to find the killer. And he was right for like 50 years. Every overlooked file, every untested rape kit, every detective who just said, ain't nothing but a hooker, they were all accomplices in the cover-up. Let me tell you something. Evil ain't always loud. Sometimes it moves real quiet, real slow, real polite. Just like Samuel Little. He smiled and he charmed his way, and behind that smile, baby, was a death sentence for any woman who rubbed her neck or whose neck he wanted to rub. Now, this was just the first episode of 4. This one, Born Bad, it's just the beginning. Next week, we're going to pick up where we left off in LA. But before I let you go, I just want to ask you this. If the world doesn't care about you when you alive, what hope do we have for justice when we gone? If it weren't for Samuel Little, I probably wouldn't even thought of this question, but it's really been on my mind hard with this one. So again, this is a good stopping point for episode 1 of this 4-part Samuel Little December takeover. Whew, child, wasn't that a lot? That was a whole lot of. I knew the name. I knew that he had done a bunch of killing, but man, I did not know that he was out here like that. And we still got 3 episodes to get through, y'all. Oof. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this episode. Y'all know how to get at me. I am Melanin Mayhem Podcast on all the social media platforms except for X. Y'all know Elon special. Over there, I am Melanin Mayhem PC. The email is open and accepting company at melaninmayhempodcast@gmail.com. Oh, New World Nation, guess what? We are closing in on almost 1,000 members of the discussion group. Like, that is amazing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a private discussion group on Facebook. It's called the Melanin Mayhem Podcast Discussion Group. I know, real inventive name, I know. And if you want to be down like Brandy, all you got to do is head on over there, request to join, and I got you. I'll let you in, I promise. This week's New Orleans Nation shout out goes to Dr. LaShondra Dangerfield, my eye doctor. Let me tell y'all, I am constantly humbled by y'all. So let me tell you what happened. I had to go to the eye doctor, right? Because I need a new pair of glasses. And I just wanted to, I had went the other day to go just get some new ones with my prescription, but they said that my prescription had expired like a week prior and that I needed to get my eyes checked out. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. You know, I've been going to this optometrist for like 15 years. They have taken care of my eyes. So I roll with it when they tell me it's time to make an appearance, right? So I roll up there and I let them do what they do. And I'm just sitting waiting on the actual optometrist to come in, right? So she comes and she's like, Miss Davis. And I pop up and I'm like, that's me. And we are walking down to the exam room, right? And then she turns to me and she's like, or should I say Miss Celebrity? And she was like, I thought that was you. And then I heard that voice and I knew it was you. And baby, I flashed back in my head to like a little over a year ago, last year, around this time when I was in the office for an eye exam. And I was telling my doctor about my little podcast or whatever and telling her that she should check me out, right? Y'all, she did. And she loves it. So we sitting up in the exam room shooting the shit. And, you know, she said that she was not pleased when she got her little 3-minute episode last week. And y'all, I was like, oh my God, she really listens. She's not just blowing smoke up my ass. She knows what's going on. Y'all, and I'm just so dang humble. Like, y'all don't even know. I am amazed by the love that y'all show the country girl, Dr. Dangerfield. Thank you, boo. And you are thebomb.com, keeping my peepers peeping, honey. And let me tell you, if you are in Atlanta and you need to have someone to really care for your eye health, go on ahead and holler at my doctor, Dr. Dangerfield. She is the truth, baby. And she is a melanated baddie, so put some respect on her name. We can keep it in the family, okay? All right, I gotta go. Oh, that reminds me, though. I gotta do something different this time. Normally, part of my editing process is to remove my breathing sounds. But I've really been trying to come to terms with the fact that people breathe, and I am people. So, for this episode, I'm leaving the breathing in, and I want y'all to tell me the real. Do you hate it? Is it distracting? Do I sound like I need oxygen? I mean, we fam. Keep it a buck, right? Do what you do and do what you do. All right, for real now, I gotta go. So let me go in here and get in the lab and clean it up and get ready to let it fly. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode. Oh, and if you have Spotify, can you please give me a play over there? Oh my God, we are so close to monetization. It keeps going up and down. I'll be right there. It's a rolling 30-day cycle. Please tell your mama and them, listen to me on Spotify. Please. And while you're doing that, go on ahead and stay safe. And, of course, I need you to stay vigilant. And above all else, remember this. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. New Orleans Nation, it is one love, boo. And the country girl is out of here. Mwah.
Woo-wee, Nana, you did that.